Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Coaching from the Couch. This is your Washington Commanders update, and I am your host, CWall, checking in as I do each and every single week during the NFL season to give you the latest and greatest information on what's happening with the Washington Commanders. Absolutely a lot to discuss. Commanders go down yet again to the Philadelphia Eagles, this time at home on their home turf at FedEx Field. We're going to do maybe things a little bit different. We're still going to get into what's your one word, but I want to go into some things that I thought went well, then what didn't go so well, and want to get to toward the end so a bit from Coach Ron Rivera's press conference today. So not his after game press conference in terms of Coach Rivera, but his day after the game press conference, because for sure there's a lot to discuss in terms of what was said there. So if you all see me looking down, it's because, hey, it's nearing the trade deadline, and who knows what may happen? Who knows what's coming soon? Who knows what's going down? So you all may see me look just to say, is the coast still clear or not? So let's get right on into the show. Why don't we? You all know the drill. First up, after a Commanders game, we always play this game, whether it's win, lose, or draw, which is what's your one word? And it is what is your one word to describe how you felt after the Commanders lose again to the Philadelphia Eagles? After they had a pretty good lead there for a bit. What is your one word? Can't wait to see what some of your one words are. And while you're dropping your one word, let me just say, it's definitely what Joe Harris has here, which is disappointed for sure. For sure. I think that was one of the things that Coach Rivera said in the after game press conference. He used the word disappointed as well. Joe Hall says discombobulated. Mama Waller jumps in and she says she's disappointed as well. I mean, I think it goes with. I mean, that's probably the one word for it all. I mean, right about now, this is pretty much mid-season. You all have heard me say several times what you see during week 5 to 7 is kind of what you're going to get. It's it. You know, good, bad, or indifferent. It is what it is. What you're seeing in week 5 to 7. I think one of the things that's so hard to watch is, you know, you look across the league, and again, it's mid-season, so teams are already inundated with injuries to key players, just some unfortunate events, and that's not necessarily the Commanders' storyline. Yes, they have injuries; they absolutely have injuries, but it's not as detrimental or as lengthy of an injury list as some other teams have already experienced so far this season. So it's like, okay, you can't you can't go into okay where they're missing key players in several different position groups or they're doing all that. That's not the case. So there's a clear issue, which we talked about just last week after the Commanders lost to the Giants at MetLife Stadium. We discussed that. So there's some real issues happening here that need to be addressed. So yet another loss. So before we get into that, how about this? How about, can you believe it? I want to talk about some things that went well. So you see me looking down again, because I got to keep track to say, okay, what's going on, because it's live. Who knows what may happen in terms of any trade deadline news. So here's some things that went well, and I want you to drop in the chat as well some things that went well. Here's what I want to start out with in terms of some things that went well before the game. Washington legend, Hall of Famer Daryl Green met with the media. Daryl Green had a lot to say, and I thought they were all very important points. So I wanted to summarize those for you all because I think it's really important to share some of this information with the fans on what was said. He's impressed with the new ownership group. Good to hear that, right? He said he actually got a call from them the night before the opening press conference, and he thought that was really nice. So he just talked very and spoke very highly of the new ownership group, talked about his friendship with Magic Johnson and other things. So that's definitely something you want to hear. In terms of comments on RFK, he gave the number or the ages around 45. So if you're around 45 and above, there's nobody who does not want the stadium to go back to RFK. He's like, listen, if 45 is probably around that age, if you want to go back to RFK, that's probably the group on up. He's like, younger than that, you probably don't really care that much. But there is definitely a demographic that absolutely cares about the new stadium being back at RFK. He talked a lot about his friendship with Tony Dorsett. And he always talks about, running him down, the first play of his rookie season, and it being on Tony Dorsett. They're actually great friends. Their wives are great friends. He said, of course, back then, you wasn't getting no autographs. Nobody was ever getting any autographs back then. But now, yes, you do autographs. He says some autographs he didn't get or it didn't even do until, the Hall of Fame ceremonies. But it was nice for him to, just talk about that and be very open about his friendship with Tony Dorsett. Everybody knows the historic rivalry between the Cowboys and Washington. But hey, listen, at the end of the day, these people are friends. Whether it's while they're still playing or it's years after, they know each other in real life and they're friends. He mentioned Emmanuel Forbes, and I'm sure that's what you all probably saw a lot of that conversation along on social media in terms of, what he thinks of Emmanuel Forbes. And he just said he thinks that he's not getting the help that he needs. And he could probably help him in 10 minutes. So I know I've been asked in the last 24 hours a lot about that comment. And here's what I will say about that specific comment. And this is a recurring theme from alumni that they want to help. We've heard Brian Mitchell say it. We've heard Fred Smoot say it. We've heard Logan Paulson say it. We've heard Santana Moss say it. We've heard, when I shared some things from the Legends game, the homecoming weekend, we heard Charles Mann say it. This has been a recurring theme of let us help. You all may remember when Ron Rivera had the posse come in and talk to the team, talk with the receivers. And so that's one thing, right? The notion of having, alumni come in. But I think there is a strong desire from alumni to not just come in, but to be regularly and consistently involved. So I thought it was important to share that with you all because we're seeing issues. We're seeing things that are not resonating. And hopefully the ownership hears them out. Hopefully the owners say, hey, you want to help? Hey, you think you can help this kid? Hey, you think I want you here. I want you here to help. How often can you help? What can you do? If they want to, and that's where they want to spend their time, why not? Why not? It always makes me smile because the alumni take so much pride in the burgundy and gold. So just as fans want to win, trust me, the alumni want to win just as much as the fans want to win. So let's see what happens. I wanted to share that with you all. I hope that was helpful. If you're just turning in from the Coaching from the Couch series, you are watching the Washington Commanders Update. I'm your host, CWall. Make sure if you're watching from Facebook, make sure you hit that love button. Share this show with your Washington Commanders loving family and friends. Tag them on into the live discussion. If you're watching from YouTube, hello to you as well. Drop a fire emoji so that I know that you are checked in and watching. We're sharing some things that went well, per my opinion, and you all are dropping in the chat as well some things that you thought went well. I started off with what legend Darryl Green, Hall of Famer, was sharing with the media before the game. Now let's get into the game. Sam Howell had a good game. All right, can we get a love button, a fire emoji? Because hey, listen, Sam Howell had a good game. I mean, he threw a pick, and that hurt. But overall, Sam Howell had a good game. Now, along with Sam Howell having a good game, I think it's very important to note the offensive line had a good game as well. Now, I'm just going to state some observations. We know that Sadiq Charles is out due to an injury. Okay. Chris Paul comes in. We know that they made a change at center, had Tyler Larson come in. Tyler Larson was very effective before he got injured last season. Those two changes boded well for the Commanders' offense. Don't you think? Love button, fire emoji. We got to give credit where it's due, everybody. Here's another thing that I thought went well. Finally saw Jahan Dotson get in the mix. You all know we've been talking about Jahan Dotson. We've seen Jahan have some tough games. Jahan was doing well. Jahan was doing pretty daggone good. Happy to see that. Very happy to see that. Happy to see Jahan in the mix. I'm also going to tell you what I was happy to see. I was happy to see Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, and Logan Thomas all with touchdowns. All with touchdowns. Now, we're going to get to the not so well with Terry in a moment, okay? Don't think I didn't see it. Don't think I'm not going to address it, because I absolutely am, okay? But you would think that's a good game. You would think there's some promising things happening there when you see your two wide receiver 1 and 2 with touchdowns, Logan Thomas. That's a good day. Also, something that went well. Curtis Samuel went down with a toe injury. Best wishes to him. Hope he gets well soon. Jamison Crowder. You all have heard me talk about Jamison Crowder a lot, and I'm going to keep talking about Jamison Crowder. You want to know why? Because when his name is called, he shows up. When Curtis Samuel had to go out, Jamison Crowder showed up yet again. So, very good. I've been giving Jamison Crowder his flowers the whole time when it comes to special teams. But he also pitched right in as a wide receiver, being the veteran that he is, and made some plays. Always give credit where it's due. I fully expect a love button or a fire emoji for this one. And that is Joey Sly with a 61-yarder, the longest in franchise history. Now, let me be abundantly clear with you all. When Chris Paul had a great game, like I said, he had a great game, was in at left guard for Sadiq Charles. He had a great game. But let me tell you, when he got that 5-yard penalty, I said, oh, gosh, here we go. Well, guess what? Joey Sly made a 61-yarder. That was some good stuff. On the defensive side, the defense definitely, they stopped the tush push, whatever it is that the Eagles like to do. They stopped that on the 1-yard line. Incredible. Cameron Curl forced a fumble. Fedarian Mathis with the recovery. Shout out to Fedarian Mathis, right? He's been just ridden with injuries since he came into the league and was able to make that play and maximize that opportunity. Phenomenal. Montez definitely let his presence be known a time or two. That is Montez Sweat. He for sure let his presence be known for certain. So with that, I'm about to jump into Sam Howell's after game press conference. This is before we get into the not so well. Okay, we're gonna get into the what not so well. But before we get into that, let's do a bit. Let's chat a bit and watch a little bit of Sam Howell's after game press conference.
Yeah, I mean, I thought those guys up front did a really good job today, and I thought we did a good job. EB did a good job of mixing things up, and getting some quick game called, and had a lot of screens called today as well. And I thought we did a lot of things to keep them off balance. And did a lot of good things, but we had an opportunity there in the fourth quarter to have a chance to go tie the game, and I got to be better. I wasn't at my best when my best was needed, and it hurt the team today. Yeah, very disappointing. Obviously both games against these guys, we felt like they were games that we could have won, and I think we're just right there. But at the end of the day, we let another one slip away from us, and we just got to come back and regroup, and stay positive, and just take it one game at a time, and move on to next week.
Sam, how important is it for the rest of the offense as well? Do you get some success early on some of the quick hitters into the screens and you're taking a couple of shots? How important is it for the rest of the guys, not just you, to see the chains move and get the ball in the end zone?
Yeah, I mean, I think all we were doing was creating momentum, and I think when you have a bunch of different players getting involved in the game and you're moving the ball in different ways, I think it just creates more holes, more openings for the offense, and it just helps more guys get open, and get more involved. And I thought we did a good job today. I thought EB called a great game and did a good job, put us in position to have a chance to win. We just got to find a way in the fourth quarter to finish the game and finish with a victory.
In this presser, one of the things that Sam Howell went on to say, and we, in the interest of time, we won't play the whole thing, but one of the things that he went on to say was that, hey, we know, and like he says this every week, coach says it every week, they know the potential and the caliber of players that they have in the locker room. And who's to say we don't go and win 9 straight? Who's to say we don't go ahead and just make a run for it and figure this thing out? There is a desire to do that, very much so. But I think the challenge here, and is if you are just tuning in, you are watching from the Culture from the Couch series, the Washington Commanders Update, and I am your host, CWall. This is a live Bowie television recorded, so everything we say and do here, it just may pop up on the television screen each and every single day, 1:30 to 2:30, 1:30 to 2:30, Verizon Channel 11, Comcast Xfinity Channel 77, and on the weekends it comes on during the noon hour. So hit that love button, drop a fire emoji so I know that you're here. Right now we're talking about Sam Howell's, Washington Commanders quarterback Sam Howell's after game press conference, and what he was sharing in terms of there still being a lot of positivity around the potential of what is still in the locker room and the caliber of players in the locker room, which is going to lead me to then what didn't go so well. We know that there was a 4th-and-1 call on offense by Coach Bieniemy that you had to go back and look at it several times to say, okay, was it a good call? Why didn't you just run it? It was 1 yard. What, you can't get 1 yard. What are we doing? Too often, I feel like the Commanders are playing extremely conservative. Whatever you got to get whatever is the simplest, easiest way to get the ball, move the chain, do that. Just do that and get it down there. Just get it down there. Get down the field. That's all. 1 yard. 1 yard. 1 yard. That's all you need right now is 1 yard. And the play didn't move forward. We know that there was not that challenge on the 4th and 5, 4th and 4 for the Eagles catch. We're going to talk about that in a moment. I'm going to hold my thought on that one because we're going to get into some of the things that Coach Rivera talked about. We're not going to get into his after game presser. We're going to get into his day after the game press conference because that is important. We're going to also talk about some of the busted coverages. We're also going to talk about Emmanuel Forbes being on AJ Brown again. I'm going to skip this next one because we got to talk about it. Because I want to share a video. Love button, like button. Are you all familiar with the green dot? Chime in if you are familiar with the green dot. So the green dot on defense is your defensive player that you trust, is high IQ, that is somewhat of your leader on defense, that basically calls the defense. They get in the defensive plays, they inform the rest of the defense of what is happening. Last year, Cole Holcomb wore the green dot. Once Cole Holcomb got hurt, Cameron Curl wore the green dot. Yesterday, David Mayo was wearing the green dot. I'm not real certain why David Mayo was chosen to wear the green dot. I'm not real sure and certain why Cameron Curl is no longer wearing it. Give him the green dot. I just thought it was interesting because in terms of, if at least from my eye test and what I could see, in terms of effective and capability and skill set, David Mayo was not it in terms of who I would trust to tell anybody, nice person. But what are we really doing here? Because you would want to think one of your leaders vocal is the person that wears the green dot. David Mayo had the green dot, and I was pretty disappointed with understanding that David Mayo was wearing the green dot. What did not go so well? We're going to show a video clip. Terry McLaurin with 2 back-to-back drops. That never happens. I was shocked. But drop in the chat. I think some conversations are going to have to be had. Here's why. Everybody loves Terry. Let's be for real. But when you watch other teams play, and it's probably not fair to say and compare anybody to AJ Brown. It's probably not fair at all. Your wide receiver 1 can't drop the ball 2 times. You just can't do it. You just shouldn't do it. Whatever happened, this goes back to what I was sharing with you all last week, which was simply this. Are there conversations that are being had that says that can't happen? And I see this here, right? I'm going to call it all out. I better not see anyone. Nope, nobody's bashing Terry. But Terry need to catch them footballs. Straight up. 1 time, 2 times, no. Because we've even seen bad passes get caught by top receivers. 1 time, I could say okay. 2 times, nope, not okay. Not okay. And those are the types of conversations that need to be had when you are a leader of a team. When you are wide receiver 1. Because see, I want there to be an accountability measure for coaches. But what then gives the energy around, but your players aren't good enough, is when things like that happen in the trenches. Straight up. And even if you feel bad about it, conversations need to be had to understand what happened there. What happened there? What happened there? because that's uncharacteristic of you. Now, just saying that's uncharacteristic, just saying what happened there does not mean a conversation doesn't need to be had. What's going on? I'm not gonna give anybody any passes. Y'all heard me say the same thing about Jahan Dotson. Somebody's got to get to the bottom of it. What's going on here? Get to the bottom of it. I'm seeing you drop passes that you catch. What is happening here? Come back the next game. Everybody act like they got some sense. Okay, good. Because this wasn't, I'm talking about open passes. We're not talking about you getting covered. We're talking about matchups that you normally win. We're talking about you being wide open. That's when the rubber starts to meet the road, right? Because you can't holler about coaching and in the same breath you have players that are not executing. That's where it starts to say, where is the balance? And I'm going to still share this video with y'all because, of course, Terry feels bad. Everybody feels bad. They're losing. So, yeah, there's enough bad feelings to go around. But when you are a leader and you are wide receiver one, and you are seeing the opposing team catching all types of passes with one hand, making sure they got both feet in and all of that while they're being covered, it's going to be hard to make a case for advocating anything other than do whatever you need to do to fix the team. I'm always going to go to the leadership first because that's just what I think. But when the execution part isn't there, players have to be held accountable. We cannot let go of that player accountability piece. You can't. And you can absolutely not let anyone get away with it. Everybody can catch it. Everybody can get it. Everybody has to be able to wear and get that constructive criticism, no matter how much you like them. If you like them, you'll let them know, hey, what's going on? Because that's uncharacteristic of you. You don't drop 1 and 2 passes in a row in a critical moment. But here's Terry in the locker room after the game.
Hey, Terry, could you just sum up this game for us?
Yeah, we just didn't make the plays necessary to win the game. Myself starts with that for me. Those are plays that I make, tough plays or not. You got to make those plays. So I definitely take full accountability for that. And if we get one of those plays, the first down, we're still rolling, have the chance to still score points. So I'm not going to really speak on a lot of other people. I just speak for myself, and I got to be better, and I'm going to be better. So, but as a whole, we just collectively got to make our plays. When it comes to crunch time, and if you want to beat good teams like that, that's what you have to do.
Could you take us through those 2 plays a little bit?
Yeah, we had a third down, a little out route, like a deep corner, I would say, and I was just taking it high, and the ball was where it was, and I still feel like I could have had it. You know what I mean? So you just look at it. I feel like maybe I could have slowed down a little bit more in the zone. Maybe that's why Sam was trying to stop me with the ball a little bit. But at the end of the day, I got to make that in the second one. Kind of similar. I have an in route, but it's kind of like a soft part of the zone. And, if I could maybe give him a little bit better clean body language, then he can drive the ball a little bit better. Even still, both of them within my reach. So I just got to be better. I'm going to be better for that.
Hey, Terry, one more. This offense overall, when you look at just the way this team performed today, and you look at some of the other games, not so much, could you just talk about just how this team can play and put the points on the board, from this game forward?
Yeah, I think it's just still putting 4 quarters together, and I think that starts with, like I said, guys making their plays for 4 quarters. I think it was a good game plan. We were moving the ball. We were not too bad in the red zone, but it's still going to come down to critical plays in the NFL. That's what it comes down to, and the teams that figure out how to make those plays win those games.